Hey everyone, Trace W here from MTG Flops. Have some interesting, different content for you today, not just a little skit. I was searching Google for a spoiler for Magic the Gathering, Ikoria. So, typing into the search bar, I typed in Magic the Gathering I for the beginning of Ikoria, and auto-suggestion put up Magic the Gathering, is it evil? And I figured I ought to be enlightened. So I followed that rabbit hole, and it brought me to this article published by Christian Answers for a New Age, labeled Magic the Gathering, to play or not to play. Let's dive in. So we start out with this disclaimer that's basically telling the neckbeards to stay away. Basically, she's saying that, I don't believe this is the occult, but it does glorify occult practices, so that's still displeasing to God. To me, it sounds like she's just saying it's evil anyway, even though it's not the occult. She then points us to this verse in Deuteronomy, which reads, "Let no one among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Because of these same detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you." Okay, so I believe in God. And as a person who believes in God, I study scriptures pretty regularly. And I can tell you that's taken out of context. You can't use that. Because there's a large difference between the occult, not even just the occult, but just people who believe they can practice magic, as the scripture specifically said, kill their children and burn them for their pagan gods, and this card game where it's not really even simulating this. And if you think you're glorifying the occult by playing this game, you might have a little bigger problem than just playing, with cardboard. You got some bigger things to deal with. Judging by all the other articles about the occult, I'd say that they've kind of got an obsession. Also, that Star Wand is pretty sick. Looks like they got it at a dollar store. Anyway, moving on. The next paragraph is basically just explaining what it is and its origins. Specifically, Magic the Gathering. Not sure what that means. Said it's sold by Wizards of the Coast and is created by a mathematician and veteran Dungeons and Dragons player, Richard Garfield. Dungeons and Dragons is a red herring and you know it. You're not gonna don't be dragging that in there. I know you're gonna use it. The cards are linked to one of 5 kinds of magic: red, blue, green, white, or black. The players, representing sorcerers, use the cards to quote-unquote kill the other guy before he kills you with spells, enchantments, and creatures like Chaos Orb, Bad Moon, and Animate Dead. Oh shoot. You have to kill the other guy? You know what other game you have to kill the other guy with? Sorry. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Chess. Any game. Like Dungeons and Dragons, the famed role-playing game, there it is. Magic is a challenging game that calls for intricate strategy and shrewd plays. I love how she had to use like the most derogatory sounding word for clever that she could find. It's like, magic is the release for some of the most shrewd thoughts of the player. She then goes on to talk about some of the more unsettling images on the cards, which in some cases are true. There are some very scary images. But you have to realize, you're not giving these to children. If your child is going to be sleeping in your bed the following night from nightmares, maybe you shouldn't have bought them the cards.
And it says age 13 plus right there in the corner. See it? Right there, you silly goose. She says exposure to magic can cause desensitization to what is ugly. Now, listen here. I know you're trying to make a point, and I know gamers have this certain physique, but you just can't go around insulting people. You know what she describes here is like how Jeff Dahmer grew up. This isn't how normal people work. The next paragraph says, if you play or collect magic dot dot dot, you can tell it's going to get good here. You can just tell, you can feel it. Although a player is only pretending to be a sorcerer, is this any better than pretending to be, for example, a drug dealer? Yes, one is strictly better because one is real. Now she says, imagine a game we'll call Pusher, where red cards are speed, green cards are pot, black is heroin, blue is LSD, and white is cocaine. Each player is a drug dealer trying to win by selling the most drugs and getting rid of the competition. The game could be made complex by introducing challenges from the law, prison, gangs, impure products, etc. Actually sounds pretty cool. She then goes on to ask the reader if it's okay to play a game about magic if you wouldn't play one about drugs. Well, even though I disagree with her very strongly, her values stay the same, and I have to respect that. But in making that drug card game argument, she destroyed her own argument. Because, playing a card game about the drug industry is not going to send you into the drug industry. And watching Breaking Bad is not glorifying the drug industry. So when you get, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go burn all my cards, subscribe and stuff, and